Hey, what's up, guys? Tuki here, back again, and welcome to the second episode of A Nation United, Rock, Flag, and Eagle. A Nation United with Team USA, basically. Now, first and foremost, I do want to thank you guys for the support in the first episode. I was looking back on that episode, looking at the comments. I gotta say, the thing I'm probably most proud of about that episode, it would be the intro. I think that intro was perfect, but that's not to say I'm not happy with how I drafted. Sure, there are some selections that we could debate. Jack Eichel over Johnny Gaudreau, Connor Hellebuck over Charlie McAvoy, which I know the Bruins fan didn't take Charlie McAvoy. I know. I'm shocked too. But for the most part, we do have a good team moving forward. A lot of youth, of course. Quite a few of the guys are already in the AHL. I changed around the lines a little bit, but obviously that top six, it's going to be interesting to see how they develop this season. We have quite a few defensemen as well, so we might look to make some moves midway through the season or maybe closer to the trade deadline. But overall, I feel like we're in a pretty good starting point. I did rework the lines a little bit. I'm going to give Shane Prince a chance on the second line. At 24 years old, it's probably his last year to make a decent amount of development, so I'm going to hope that can prove to be the case rather than having Derek Ryan on the top line with Eichel and Palmieri. That makes room for Ryan Donato to be on the top line, which, let's be honest, he probably should be. The defense, I believe, is pretty much the same, at least in the way that we left it there in the last episode. That said, and actually here, you know what, before I get into this, the AI assigned the captaincies, and I kind of agree with it. Jack Eichel, Kyle Palmieri, and Jacob Trouba. I kind of agree with that and see no real reason to change it. Jack Eichel, our number one pick, is the leader of this team moving forward. That said, in terms of additions, how are we going to handle that? I was looking at the comments, and of course, there were some names out there. Besser was mentioned quite a bit. One of the more thumbs-up comments was in terms of saying, hey, get Colin White, who you missed out on. He is here on Carolina, and I'm kind of hoping that the Hurricanes have a down year and that maybe, just maybe, he finds himself on the trade block. Not to mention they also have Tage Thompson and Greenway on this team as well. So Carolina happen to have a couple of players that would be eligible for us to acquire. But for the most part, we're going to look to keep it a little bit simple here. We are going to roll with the team we have right now, and of course we'll look to make changes throughout this season if it's necessary. The big thing is finding out just who is going to be available for us in the upcoming draft, and really what kind of player development will we see from the majority of our guys this season. Not only the ones that are signed, but of course the ones that are unsigned ever since they patched it midway through NHL 18, and you now have the ability to have players develop without being signed. It makes it a little bit more interesting, and it takes the pressure off of having to make sure everyone's in the AHL. So development is a very big factor for us. I'm not going to speak at all to what has happened so far with the results. It's probably a fluke. And see, the second I even hint towards it, bam, we lose 3 out of 4, make that 4 out of 5. So I expect this to be a streaky team. The Cleveland Monsters, though, at 7-1 to start the year. Now, I will still pay attention to the junior league teams, but I do want to start off by just scouting the NHL for the 6 weeks each. And I'm doing it that way because New Day rocks. No, New Day does rock, but still, because New Day rocks. I'm doing it that way because computer-generated players are obviously going to be a very big factor for us, and it's going to really kind of determine our success. We need to make sure that whatever computer-generated players pop up, that we are the ones to get the best of the bunch. So there's that little bit of pressure there, but obviously, Americans still do show up in the 3 CHL leagues. Now, we are 7-5 at the end of the first month. The Cleveland Monsters with an 11-1 record. They are killing it so far. It would be nice to see some playoff hockey from them. And despite the 7-5 record, it is early on, but we are currently in a playoff spot. Kyle Palmieri with 9 points in 12 games. I want to take a quick look here, as Donato has 6 points, 8 for Eichel, the 9 for Palmieri. And actually here, if we can avoid menu lag, Shane Prince, only the 1 goal so far. Second line struggling to get going. I'm hoping Galchenyuk and Tuck can be a great 1-2 punch. The third line is actually producing quite well. Keep using the word player development throughout this, so I might get tongue-tied every now and then. We have Corrali, Achari, and Pitlick on the 4th. Of course, I don't expect any major development up to this point. I'm not surprised that the bottom 2 pairings are struggling, though, in the slightest. And that's probably a big reason as to why we're successful so far this season. Connor Hellebuck, 11 appearances, 7 wins, 3 shutouts, and a .935 save percentage. Now, again, would this team look better with maybe Kincaid as the starter and McAvoy on defense? Perhaps. Although, of course, we would have gone for Ben Bishop or someone like that rather than Kincaid. But you get my point. Let's keep moving on here. Let's keep moving on. Can we stay competitive as this season continues? That is perhaps what I'm most intrigued by now. We do start off the month with three losses out of our first 4 games, but we've bounced back now. 3-game winning streak that was ended by the Rangers. We followed that up with another loss to Buffalo, so we're still doing okay. Winning more games than we're losing. That's kind of a good method, isn't it? I feel like it might be, as we're through November at 14-10-1. Cleveland. My God, 19 wins in 24 games. Incredible stuff there. Let's see the standings as it currently, oh my God, really? Oh boy, 14-10-1, and we are in first place. Kyle Palmieri, 10 goals, 10 assists, still leading the way. I don't expect him or Eichel at this rate. Well, I don't know. Maybe he could be up there in contention, top 10 in scoring. I'm expecting them to kind of fall back a little bit, but they might be able to pull it off. And so far, I really see no reason to make any major changes. Again, as we move closer to the deadline, I expect to move out a couple of players. If anything, I might do it a little bit sooner than that, maybe at the start of January, especially with the amount of defensemen that we have. It'll be nice, even if we can't pair them up with a decent player to go out and get somebody like a Colin White. It'll still be nice to bring in a couple of extra draft picks, although how many are we going to be able to use? And will we be able to use them efficiently and effectively? It depends on who is available for us, of course. But 20-15-3 as we approach the end of 2017, and we ring in the new year with a 7-1 win over the Tampa Bay Lightning. Does that mean much in this fantasy draft world? Yeah, it does. 21-15-2 this season. Cleveland again, 39 games in, 27 wins. Craziness from the AHL team. John Gillies doing one hell of a job. And we are in first place in our division. Now, New Jersey, they have a couple games at hand, and they'll be able to make the most of those, I am sure. But so far, so good. Palmieri, 31 points this season. I got to admit, I can feel my voice kind of giving out a little bit. I streamed for a bit before recording this, and I still got this lingering sickness going on. I'm not really sure what it is. It's kind of annoying, but yeah, the voice might start to give out. I might have to clear my throat a little bit more than normal, and I'm sorry for that. I apologize. Ryan Donato with 15 goals. Eichel's doing okay. The top line isn't quite producing as I would have expected, nor with the second line. I thought Tuck would be more of a goal scorer. 20 assists, though, so far this year. And the third line's kicking in a little bit. Derek Ryan's been pretty disappointing. I wonder if he has power play time. Let's take a look and find out. He doesn't, but Matt Cullen does, which would explain his higher point total. I don't know why with best lines that's what happened, but allow me to put Derek Ryan on the power play just to bump up that point total a little bit. Although, you know what? No, you're not really a part of the future. Someone who might be a part of the future is Shane Prince. So let's see if that helps. You know what? I'm just going to have the main lines be the main power play. Feels like a good way to go. So I now absolutely expect Cullen's point total to kind of drop off. Paling and Tufte, both up to 73s at this point. In terms of goaltending, Gillies is still a 74, but indeed he is killing it with a .928 save percentage. Jake Ottinger has played a few games, and needless to say, it hasn't gone all that well for him. It would have been ideal to be able to put him in the CHL, but what can you do? That's the way it goes. Now, the one thing I do want to check is whether or not there are any moves we can make here, because a lot of these teams will still have plenty of spots available, and I do wonder. Now, you know what? Here's the bad news, where I forgot to keep the laptop open, which I should probably do for every episode in this series, just to make sure I can check names. Of course, this series will get a little bit more difficult as you get to enjoy the lovely sound of this laptop having an aneurysm because I plugged in the charger. This series is going to be great for I can check nationalities now. That's right, I just can't check them on the free agent list. Never mind, laptop, kick rocks. You're not needed here. I forgot about that. It freaks me out that I can check it here, but not in the fantasy draft, right? Or in free agency. It's kind of worrisome, but it is what it is. Now, Adam Gaudette is on the list from the Bruins. List of eligible players: Ron Hainsey, Jason Pominville. We don't need to mess with them. Now, I'm not limited in this series to having to go for players that are on the trade block. It's kind of helpful, though, in some circumstances, to target these specific players because obviously they're going for a cheaper price. So it's worth taking a look. And so far, there's only one guy that I'm really interested in acquiring. But, considering we have to make a trade, well, we don't have to make a trade, but considering we're looking to make a trade, Scott Reedy is also available, but I'm not entirely sold on him. Considering we're looking to make a trade right now, Benton Moss would actually be a pretty strong addition. JT Compher is there as well, someone who could be pretty good in a bottom six role. So we'll keep Nashville in mind. There's also Adam Fox and Nolan Stevens. So Nashville, New Jersey, all potential trading partners. We could get Tyler Pitlick. I think it's his brother. It might be his cousin, Rem Pitlick. I think it's his cousin, to be honest. I can't remember, though. I'm just making assumptions again, and for that, I am sorry. Jason Robertson's available. So there are a couple of decent names. Of course, no gigantic names here that are going to help us out tremendously, but that's not really surprising. J.D. Greenway is available, at least for cheap, as is Dante Fabro, but unfortunately you are Canadian, and that is painful. So I was hoping for a couple of medium top sixes. However, Adam Gaudette's available, and I wouldn't mind bringing him in to at least appease the Vancouver fans, considering I don't think I'm going to be able to acquire Brock Besser anytime soon. So taking a look here, I don't really plan on trading John Gillies, especially with how well he's doing in the AHL. He could at least be the stopgap for Kincaid. Lindgren, I mean, I could add Lindgren onto this deal just to get rid of him. I mean, we're not going to be able to use him. Who else can we get rid of here? I wonder if they'll take... I mean, obviously, I'm not looking at anybody right now that's going to help us out tremendously. But I do need to clear out some of these names, of course, including someone like Paul Martin, Rob O'Gara, and Nick Seeler. So they're going to reject this. Or not. They won't. That is shocking to me. But I'm okay with it, because we really didn't give up anybody that crucial. We just moved out a couple of players in the AHL, and we were able to pick up Adam Gaudette because of it. So Paul Martin was in the lineup. It's not like he had a major spot on this team. So I'm good with that. We have Hunwick and Riley still there. And of course I can just plug Matt Hunwick. I saw M and Riley and I'm like, Morgan Riley. It's like, no, that's Mike Riley and Matt Hunwick. Losing my mind, but that is okay. So I have to go to extras. I hate when you tell someone, oh, replace this guy in all lines, and it doesn't do that, and you have to fix this every time. It's kind of annoying, but what can you do? Damn it, Brian Gibbons was already in the lineup. How about Grant Mishmash? There we go. So that time it worked out, which is sweet. So let's add Gaudette into the lineup, for whom I am not sure not really sure. You know what? I'm going to take out not Chris Wagner. I am going to take out who's having a worse season here. You know, Eric Condra hasn't been terrible, but I'm sorry, Eric. You are the weakest link, as we need to put Gaudette into this lineup. He's on the NHL team, isn't he? Oh, of course he is. Just one extra step. One extra step for no reason whatsoever. So let's go to centers. He is not affected by waivers, which is beautiful. And we will have him outright replace Eric Condra, although as a depth forward, wasn't he? Why are you showing me Glendening? That doesn't make sense. As a depth forward, would it not actually make more sense for him to replace someone like Noel Acciari or Tyler Pitlick, who just flat out aren't going to make it now that they're 26 years old? I mean, they're both fourth-line guys, but it's nothing incredible from the two of them. And that way, I can still have the top six. You know what? Adam Gaudette's getting the call-up. I thought, at first, it might not be the way to do it, but it makes sense to have Adam Gaudette be the guy who gets called up here. So, Noel, I love you, but you got to take a seat, buddy, because Adam Gaudette is getting the call-up. And imagine if Noel Acciari didn't clear waivers. In real life, he might not. Decent bottom six player. But in the sim, he should be a guarantee, as of course I have to sort that over. Adam Gaudette. And in return, I'm actually going to drop Cullen and Boyle to the fourth line. A little bit surprising, I'm sure, especially with the success Cullen has had this year. But I'm going to go Gaudette, Pitlick, and Ryan. I feel like these three, actually, you know what? Gaudette's going right to the second line. Prince, Ryan, and Pitlick will have Gaudette with Galchenyuk, and Gaudette's actually better at center, or at least in terms of face-off. So have Galchenyuk, Audette, and Tuck. You know what? Donato's done well. I don't know if I want to drop him for Galchenyuk, but also Galchenyuk has less time to develop. Let's bump up Galchenyuk. And then special teams, take out Shane Prince for Adam Gaudette. Let's do it. Welcome, Adam Gaudette, to this team. We'll sort that out. AHL, I don't care who gets this spot. Noel Acciari, don't make me fix other lines again. I hate you. Oh boy, that is one of my biggest annoyances with this game. And I don't know why, but it is. It's aggravating. So to be honest, I can't even remember in full who I just gave up to push that deal through. So it was O'Gara, Sealer, who, in fairness, both of these guys will probably develop to third pairing level, especially from what I've seen in the test runs. So they might have ended up being decent players. Paul Martin, who cares? We had Lindgren there, and I don't even remember. I think it was just those four. So I might end up regretting that in a way. But there you go. Our first big blockbuster, right? We get Adam Gaudette as we clear out some of the extra defensemen we have on this team. Now, while there were other players I'm interested in, I am going to sim through January. We'll have the team, of course, stay the way it is for the month. And then we'll take a look again at the trade block to see if anything has changed, particularly with Colin White in Carolina, as we are dropping games to the surprise of nobody, given our roster. I mean, if we were to lose 90% of our remaining games this season, I wouldn't be surprised, because it is kind of ridiculous to think how well we've done this season. I guess I'm going to go 2 weeks in each of the CHL leagues just to start, and then we'll double check where we could afford to still scout out for the remainder of the season. But we'll scroll back through the trade block, and like I said, I'm not limited to that, but I'm not wanting to give up too much right now. We do have a lot of prospects who don't have a tremendous amount of trade value, but you can't sleep on the medium top six potential. You can't even sleep on the low top six potential. Just this season in general, with what I've seen in terms of players who have developed with low top six, low top four, and even low elite, you can't really sleep on it. Which is why I, was very close to taking a low elite potential defenseman in the prior draft. Now, we are in first place. We have 2 games at hand on Pittsburgh, and we're on the same point pace as the Devils. So we're in a pretty damn good spot. However, this is a very competitive division with Carolina being at the bottom, which is just music to my ears, as Donato is up to an 80. Gaudette's done okay so far, and Alex Tuck also improving. I like it. Holy Noah Hannafin, that's what I'm talking about. Noah Hannafin up to an 83. He started at an 80. There we go, making me feel better about that pick. Thank you very much, Noah, for showing up in terms of development. So let's take another scroll through here and see if there's anybody that we can get for cheap that is a good deal for us, which all these guys are the same, basically. Whoops. Goalies matching block I actually didn't look at last time, and I will look at this time. Let's see, was there anybody here? No. You know what, I'm only going to worry about the mediums, I think. Only going to worry about the mediums, or, in some rare occasion, the elites. So, Radish, Carlson, and Honka, all not available. Troy Terry is there, though. Troy Terry is there. I kind of like the idea of getting Troy Terry. Just so that we essentially have the best of everybody. Like I said in the last episode, quite a bit. I didn't plan on taking the, go for the best prospects approach. It just kind of turned into that. And that's not to say that's the worst approach to take. So right now, I will remember Colorado and Troy Terry. Who else do we have? Hansel, I'm not worried about. Funny that he still went to Dallas. So we'll keep Colorado in mind. Who else do we have here? Hagel and Pyatt. Minnesota, nobody that can help us. Of course, there was Reedy, who again, I'm not entirely sold on. Then there was still Nashville with Benton Moss and JT Compher. Adam Fox in New Jersey should probably be the main target. Stevens was there as well. You also have Rem Pitlick, who, in fairness, 69 overall at 20 years old. It's not too shabby. Yeah, I'm thinking Adam Fox should be the biggest target here. Because to be honest, the rest are low top 6s or low top 4s, which again isn't bad. Including Troy Terry. And Winnipeg, nobody that we really want. Okay. So I'm still willing to make a deal here with New Jersey. I'd like to get a hold of Adam Fox. And if we take a look at the defense right now, if we look at the overall, we have our top 6 there. So Hunwick and Riley can go. So let's see, on defense, we have the 5. So yeah, there is a spot for one more defenseman. And I see no reason as to why Adam Fox shouldn't be it. So, Stephen Johns, I don't see him improving at this point, but that's all right. To be honest, I think I might swap Johns and Schmaltz. Actually, did they have another defenseman in New Jersey that might be on the block here? I know that they had Stevens, and it was just Stevens. Okay. So I'm thinking we might be in the market for one more defenseman, and Benton Moss would fit the bill. Maybe swap Stephen Johns to make that happen. So we have Hunwick and Riley. Of course, we have a long way to go before we can afford Adam Fox. And it will probably require a draft pick or two, but I'm not totally against that. And in terms of forwards, if Novak is the 12th, as it is, we're low on forwards. At least those, actually, I'm just looking at centers. Whoops, can you tell it's early? I'm like, wait a minute, I have more forwards than this. Oh man, there's still really nobody that I'd prefer to use here, though, to try and make this happen. Do I go with the draft pick? I think I have to. It's getting a solid return. I don't think Riley Huntington in the 3rd will go through. No, it won't. It's not close, and this is why the low top 4s are intriguing to go after. Of course, I'm trying to be as stingy as possible. It makes sense, too. Who could we use here? To be honest, I'm not against using Andy Green. We might have to reacquire another defenseman. That way Johns could stay and I'd still have to sign somebody else. Is sending Andy Green to New Jersey enough? It's not, but it might be close enough. Let me go to draft picks. Let me use a 6th just to kind of gauge this. So a 3rd, a 6th, Riley, Hunwick, and Green is not enough, and the value is still too far off. How would you like a nice, shiny 5th round pick? Just to kind of nickel and dime our way closer to a deal. Does a 4th work? It does. So a 3rd, a 4th, Green, Hunwick, and Riley for Adam Fox, who is a 19-year-old medium top 4 defenseman at 69 overall. Nice. You know, I'm good with that. I'm good with that. We're going to pick up a decent defenseman for cheap. Let's do it. We're not really giving up anything too major in terms of draft picks. Even in the first year, of course, the value, even with the changes I've made, the values of some players, of course, will still drop relatively quickly. So I'm going to send down Fox, and we are going to call up Jordan Schmaltz. And we'll have him on the main team here, moving forward. And actually, hold on. Let me go back to roster moves. Yes, game, I know. I'm aware. Don't worry. I didn't hit the wrong button. I know what I'm doing, I think. Kind of. I don't know. Some people would vehemently disagree with that, but hey, air of confidence. That's all you need. So let's go ahead and just put Schmaltz directly onto Andy Green's lines. And we're going to put him with Connor Murphy. Seems like a good enough idea. And then we'll have Johns and Weidman. And that works out. So we do weaken ourselves defensively, but it could be good for us in the long run. And then we need to fix this top pairing, in which case this random Finnish guy is going to have to be a part of the team for the moment. Although, I am going to go sign somebody. Or, I can talk to Nashville. Although I don't really have anybody left to move, now that I think about it. But getting Benton Moss for that spot, who is playing in the NHL for them right now, by the way. Getting someone like Benton Moss would probably be a good idea. Let's double check the free agent list, though. It's not a necessity, but obviously with the way Cleveland have performed this season, it would probably be for the best to go out and get a half-decent defenseman to join the cause. And the question is, now I know some people are saying like, oh, if it's the AHL, who cares? Which, in a way, I kind of agree. The question is, I'm trying to just see a name where I'm like overwhelmingly sure, like, yes, that's an American. And to be honest, it's not happening. It is not happening. I could keep scrolling all goddamn day. Let's break out elite prospects to help me out here. And you know what? To be honest, maybe we could find someone like a Wotherspoon or a Gilmore who might still have some kind of potential to help me out in terms of development. Laptop, you want to work, please? Please? Thank you very much. I love how slow this thing is. In fairness, it's an older laptop, but it's fine. I'm forgiving. It's cool. Take your time, laptop. I'm in no rush. Don't worry, I don't feel like I'm wasting these people's time right now. Not at all. Wotherspoon is definitely Canadian. I know I looked up Gilmore. He is also Canadian. Yeah, I don't think there's anybody there. Okay, let's just find an American hero at this point. Like Brooks or Pick. I'm kidding. Is Nolan Yonkman's got to be Canadian? Yeah, with a name like Nolan Yonkman, you are from nowhere else other than Canada. I'm just saying. Nate Ginnon is American. Beautiful. Let's sign him up for the season. Let's sign him up for the remainder of the season. He'll take that spot in the AHL. He gets employed, which is pretty nice because he probably wasn't going to be otherwise, especially considering he was still sitting there. And everybody's happy. As we play San Jose and the New York Islanders back-to-back, Ginnon has accepted as we lose 3-0 to the Sharks, but we do bounce back with the 2-1 win over the Islanders. So let's get the AHL line set up really quickly. Again, we are still on a good point pace. Not the best point pace. New Jersey is on a 1 point better pace right now than we are. So let's take out Suhonen, and we'll bring in Nate Ginnon. And from there, it's going to be Chris and Fox. And from there, it's low top 4. Let's go with Borgen, Belpedio, Glover, and Ginnon. The alliteration right now is out of control. Borgen, Belpedio, Glover, Ginnon. I love it. And also John Gillies, who is still just killing it right now. I love it. I love the way this team's looking. Again, it's more of a long-term project. But some would say that's what America's like right now. It's a long-term project. Let's not get political, shall we? Or let's. What are some good buzzwords? Fake news and emails and policy. Yeah, Mika Salamaki, you're not from here. Get out. Okay, I'll stop, I promise. Let me take a swig of water and we'll forget all about that until you bring it up in the comments later. Like, hey, Toogie, remember when you said this dumb shit? Which, it's like, yeah, I do. It's the internet. It stays there forever. Good swig of water, because I don't have any Arnold Palmer next to me, and I'm quite sad about it, but that's okay. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Well, it won't be fine, apparently, is our record, as we drop 3 out of 4, make that 4 out of 5, and quite a few. We have more losses than wins right now, is what I'm saying. What we are going to do is sim to the end of this month, or just before the end of this month, to the trade deadline. I wish it was deadline day. It's not. It's just a red slash on the calendar. That's all. That's all it is. I don't care about editing the trade block. I do care, however, about editing the scouting assignment. Thank you, game, for letting me know that I could do that. I appreciate you. As we have won 3 out of 4, which is pretty nifty. Let's take a look at the standings one more time. Feeling good. Not in first place anymore. 4 points back of Washington and a point back of the Rangers. Tied in points with Pittsburgh. So we are very much in the race. The question is, can we find any help at this point in time? So like I said, just because our only assets on this team right now are prospects and ones that I, for the most part, don't want to give up because I drafted them specifically. Of course, when you saw the draft, I was double checking. Like, okay, Bracco is 20 and a 69, whereas someone's 18 but a 55. Obviously, I'm going to take Jeremy Bracco. So, I mean, I picked these guys specifically for a reason, not to mention their value could go up in the future. So, there's no one here that we really want to move. It's not like someone like Matt Cullen has a tremendous amount of value, which is why I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, let me trade for whoever. I'm just insert American here, which could also be a very weird title for something else, but that's fine. As we go to Arizona, that has not changed. For Boston, it hasn't changed. Altai Barmakian is there for Buffalo. Shane Bowers, Canadian, damn it. And still no word on Colin White, who, again, has been edited in these rosters. And I mentioned this during the roster editing extravaganza. Colin White was one of the players overrated by EA. They expected him to do really, really well this season. And they did that with a couple of people. They did that in the draft as well, overrating certain prospects. Montana Onyebuchi is a name that comes to mind, who was probably drastically overrated. So Colin White, the overall, has been reset a little bit. So I'm not locked into the idea of, oh, we have to get Colin White. Like I said, I was kind of hoping he would be available here on the block just to make it easier so that we didn't have to give up anything major. Unfortunately, that has not proven to be the case. Now, I don't know if that's picking up in the background. It might not be. But I am hearing nothing but the sound right now of Emmy licking a blanket. And it's just weird. Now, that is some prime time ASMR right there. I mean, if that's not a money-making opportunity, an ASMR channel, 4 dogs, buy a dog. Also, buy a dog. Get one from your local shelter. Save a dog in need. So I could get Benton Moss and JT Compher, who are 2 names that have definitely been on my, on my radar this entire season. Nolan Stevens as well, who of course is a Blues prospect in real life. Aside from that, I mean, Rem Pitlick was there too. Aside from that, the names haven't really changed. Jason Robertson's still there. Oliver Shillington is Swedish, so there's no real concern. Greenway. For the most part, a lot of the prospects I kind of had hopes of seeing aren't there. So I could make a deal again for someone like Benton Moss. I just don't see it working out with the players we have right now. So I think we're good. I think the roster is set, and unfortunately, perhaps, we're projected to do pretty well this year. Now, we do have a 1st, 2nd, 5th, 6th, and 7th, which is fine. Again, if there was going to be a draft to maybe move a couple of picks to bring in somebody extra like an Adam Fox, this was the draft to do it. We know that the quality is going to dip right around the 3rd round. It's those first 2 rounds that are quite important. So let's keep moving on. We will sim about halfway through March. We'll literally sim to the 16th, so just over the halfway point. Or in the halfway point, really. 31 days of March, after all, as we start off this month with 4 straight losses. Make it 5, make it 6. So no playoffs in year 1, but hey, we'll have a lottery pick as the March plummet occurs yet again. I have been cursed, absolutely cursed, when it comes to simming in the month of March. I don't know what it is, but more often than not in my series, we go on a slump. I should have it trademarked, as we are now out of the playoffs, 5 points back of Pittsburgh, although we do have a game in hand. We are not on pace to make the playoffs, to the surprise of nobody, given what just happened. So I can't be all that angry about it, as we'll sim to the end of the month. I mean, I'm pretty much just going to resign to the fact that it's not looking too good, which is pretty much the only way to handle it. We have won 3 out of 5, although that loss to St. Louis breaks that little bit of a decent run of form. Nothing too crazy, though. Let's go to goaltenders. And let's see here. The final 2 games of the month, at least before we hit the 31st. As we are now at a 36, 33-9 record. The Cleveland Monsters, though, 54 wins. We have 4 games left to go. Let's just sim this game against Vancouver to get into April. It was a 1-0 shootout win, which I'm cool with. Where do we lie in the standings? We are currently in what could potentially be a wild card spot, but is currently not. 83 points with the 3 games remaining. We are, however, 4 points back of the Rangers. And in terms of getting a wild card spot, it's not going to happen. 84 points. Actually, we're right there. We are right there. I keep forgetting the Metros at the end of the little run here. So we're in it. Ottawa has a game at hand and they're a point ahead. We could still somehow sneak away with a playoff spot here. Now, I do want to take a look at the lines. Galchenyuk, I feel like, has turned it around a little bit since joining the top line. Eichel's doing all right. Palmieri is also okay. Ryan Donato's had a great rookie season. Gaudette has 13 goals, has a 75, so I'm pretty cool with that. Alex Tuch is a playmaker's playmaker, and I don't know why. Shane Prince, 20 points, not bad. Derek Ryan's been pretty disappointing. Pitlick's been pretty disappointing. And the 4th line has contributed a bit, but of course Matt Cullen's point production dropped. Hannafin's up to an 85. Feeling good about that pick. Feeling good. Makes me feel a lot better about not, drafting Charlie McAvoy a little bit. I'm not gonna live that move down until we win a cup. I know that, and even then, people are gonna be like, "Well, you would have won one sooner." 933 save percentage for Hellebucks. John Gillies still killing it. Ottinger's turned it around in his limited time. Paling and Tufte are both 74s, and in terms of the primetime prospects in the AHL, no one is below a 70, which is a pretty good sign. Chris and Fox, Borgen now is 73. Belpedio is a 75. He could be NHL ready next season. If he has a strong offseason in terms of development, Belpedio could be NHL ready as soon as next year, which is going to be pretty nice because obviously we have certain guys like Steven Johns that we can't really worry about keeping, so to speak. Worry wasn't the right word. What I am worried about, though, is the fact that this was brought up, and it was a pretty good point. I should have paid a bit more attention to all expiring. And I do constantly forget to check this mid-season. However, pretty much everyone has an expiring contract. The one issue, though, is a lot of these younger guys are UFAs. So let's pay attention to this right now. Of course, we're going to have basically all the cap space in the world, I do believe. So Connor Hellebuck is not asking for much. $23 million in extension dollars. We should be okay. Forward-wise, we don't have to worry about signing anybody. It's basically Trouba, Hannafin, and Hellebuck that we have to worry about, and we should be okay. So Hellebuck does want to sign an extension, and you know what that means. We bring up the calculator on my PC because I keep my phone on the other side of the room as to not be distracted and to hopefully not like randomly forget like, oh shit, I didn't turn my ringtone off. That's embarrassing. It's great music. It's Rock DJ by Robbie Williams. Is he telling the truth? I don't know. Am I? John Gillies is looking for a half-decent deal, actually, which makes me think he's going to be backup ready next season. So we'll also go with the full 85%. We'll just drop it down to 1.1 to save a bit of money. And, of course, Ottinger needs to be re-signed. I'm going to go... Okay, I'm only going to go 2 years because 3 years he wants more money, which means he's going to progress fairly quickly. At least that's my guess. Trouba is not willing to sign an extension. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to go 1 year at 6.3, and we'll see if he accepts that. Noah Hannafin, however, is willing to sign an extension, and thankfully, because he wants to get paid. I don't really blame him. We'll try to drop this down. I could go 4.9. I'm just going to go $5 million even. Weidman doesn't want to re-sign. Gotta be honest, I'm cool with letting him go. Same thing with Steven Johns, although I do wonder if Johns is going to improve. He is 25. He might jump up in overall a little bit, whereas Weidman's pretty much locked in to where he currently is. And again, with someone like Belpedio and potentially Jordan Schmaltz being NHL ready, I'll give Steven Johns a 1 year deal if he's willing to accept it. Although, he is all right with an extension. I'll give Johns a 1 year deal, which hopefully he is okay with signing. If he's not willing to sign here for 175, I'm going to let him go. So hopefully he's cool with that. Weidman can go. Schmaltz is willing to sign an extension. He's, you know what? In fairness, these guys are asking for a little bit more money than I would have expected, so we should still be fine. I mean, especially, too, if I have to wait until the re-sign phase, so be it. But a lot of these guys are asking for more money than I would have expected. I should still be able to sign Belpedio to a 3-year deal. The question is, there used to be a thing where that would kind of ruin someone's development. So you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to give him exactly what he wants. Ginnon, of course, can walk. William Borgen, I'll give you exactly the contract you want. Chad Chris, if it's Kreis, again, someone let me know. Or it could be Kreis, I don't know. Kreis, I'm not sure. Crisscross, who knows. We'll sign Glover. We'll sign Fox. Wow, Fox is looking for a one-way deal. Really? At a 70 overall. How well is he going to develop this offseason? The answer better be very, very well. Gianna Wingles and Condra can all go. Riley Tufte needs to be re-signed. I'm not surprised, considering he's a power forward and a more physical player, that he's willing to, or wanting to sign a 1 year deal. That's not surprising. Adam Fox was pretty surprising, though. And then at center, I don't really care about Ryan, Boyle, Wagner. I only care about the younger guys. Let's sign Paling. Let's sign Josh Norris, Grant Mishmash, who also wants a 1 year deal, or a one-way deal, and a 2 year deal. Huh. So again, we should have the money to sign all these guys, but I'm a little bit surprised at who is wanting more money and at what overalls they currently are when they are asking for said money. But we should be able to survive this. Like I said, worst comes to worst, I just wait until the end of the season, and we cut the $40 million man, although it's like a $14 million man, but you get the point. So now that that's taken care of, we get to shift our focus to potentially making the playoffs, although we might have answers before this next game. Hellebuck is back, which is tremendous. He answered immediately, and was willing to take the pay cut. Ottinger, Gillies, Trouba rejected. No surprise. I didn't up the offer that much. Hannafin's back. Chris, Schmaltz, Paling, Tufty, Norris, Mishmash, Belpedio, Borgen, Novak, Glover, Johns, Fox have all accepted. That is tremendous. Just let me go double check since everyone accepted but Trouba. Let me go double check this. This is a huge game against the Detroit Red Wings. We have $12 million in space, but what are the re-sign dollars looking like? So all expiring. Again, goaltenders were fine. Trouba is the only one I'm worried about. I'm going to look for... The funny thing is, though, I mean, now he's looking for a 3-year deal. He is a top 2 defenseman, though, at this point. So honestly, if I give him a 1-year deal, he's probably going to get even better. I'm thinking at a certain point in time, 3 years at $7 million, if he's willing to accept that. We had $15 million available to us. If he's willing to accept that, that's going to turn out to be a pretty good deal for us. And again, everybody else, good depth options. I'm not sure how much depth we're going to need at this point in time. I'm wanting to free up some space. I am looking forward to seeing who is available on the free agent list. And of course, most importantly, that player development. So let's see here. Gigantic game against Detroit. It might as well be a playoff game. They have 46 wins, by the way. Can we get the job done? Yes, we can. 6-3. Trouba is back for 3 seasons. Everything's coming up Millhouse right now. But can we keep that up for 2 more games? We are still outside the playoff structure. 2 points back of the Rangers. Each team with 2 games to go. And as far as the wildcard spot goes, it's Ottawa 3 points ahead. So our best bet is to catch the New York Rangers. We play Pittsburgh, who are below us in the standings and still have playoff aspirations. And we're playing Nashville, who are currently in a playoff spot, but their spot is not yet guaranteed. So it is a rough schedule here to end the season. Can we get the win against Pittsburgh is the question. And you know what? I'm going to jump into the sim. This might as well be a playoff game. So let's take a look here. Sam Reinhart against Derek Ryan on the opening draw. First period here against the Penguins, and it's a goal apiece. Nolan Patrick and Tyler Pitlick. So we're going up against Roberto Luongo. We were outshot 14-9 in the opening 20 minutes. Second period, and Alex Tuch with the goal. 25 shots to 15 in favor of the Penguins, but we have the 2-1 lead with 20 minutes to go in regulation. A win here. Kyle Palmieri makes it 3. A win here would more than likely end Pittsburgh's season and could potentially get us into the playoffs as we have an ungodly amount of power play time. We're not able to do anything with it, but we were limiting their shots. 3 minutes to go. And of course, if there are 2 tropes of my series at this point, okay, aside from pick hoarding, if there are 2 tropes in series of mine in terms of storylines that constantly play out, it's the March collapse and our playoff spot, our playoff aspirations coming down to the last game of the season. It has happened so frequently, especially in NHL 18, as Connor Hellebuyck, Alex Tuch, and Tyler Pitlick led the way. Hellebuyck has been a gem for us, which again, you could argue maybe it's best for us right now to not make the playoffs and to have that better pick. But who knows? With the amount of heart this team has shown, anything could be possible. And again, Lake Erie, the former Lake Erie Monsters. I'm going to make that mistake a lot. Cleveland, 57 wins. My God. I still wish they were the Lake Erie Monsters. I like that name much, much better. But that's okay. And here we go. Oh, we're out. We're out. The Rangers have clinched. It didn't matter. The Rangers won. They have us on tiebreaker. I don't think we can make it. Ottawa's on 90 points. We are out. It didn't matter. Oh, it did not matter. The Rangers winning sealed it. Ottawa winning sealed it. That is it. We put up one hell of a fight, but the March collapse got us again. And we will not be going to the playoffs in year 1. An absolute heartbreaker. Which, to be honest, I kind of just want to jump into this game for 5 minutes. Just to play with this team. Just to see how this team plays right now. I kind of want to. You know what? I'm going to. Who cares? It's the last game of the season against Nashville. You know what? If you don't care for random inconsequential gameplay, skip 3 minutes ahead, because I'm going to sim to 5 minutes left, and then just jump into it. And we're going to take a look at what this team feels like in terms of how they play. We'll handle it that way. So, first period, we're up 2-0. Boyle and Prince. They have Jake Allen between the pipes. And considering we are on 50 minutes at this point, as Gaudette gets the goal almost immediately after De Keyser scored, literally 3 seconds after. I think what we're going to do is we are going to sim to the end of the postseason. We're going to take a look at all the stats and all that as Ryan Donato gets the goal. Beautiful. We're going to take a look at all the stats. We're going to save the draft in the offseason for the next episode. So let's do this. Let's drop the time down, though, to 5 minutes. We'll save a little bit of time, but let's get a look at some of our beautiful players in action before we call it, or not before we call it quits. We do have to take a look. I swear to God, no matter what time I record, the guy next door wakes up, no matter what time, 7 in the morning, 2 a.m., 10 at night, no matter when the hell I record, he's hacking up a lung. I don't think he's sick either, and I don't believe he's a smoker. So I'm kind of confused and concerned, really. But what can I say? Jack Eichel taking this draw. Let's see what he can do. Should I turn up the game sound for this? Probably. Galchenyuk moving in. I like their 1-4 trap as Galchenyuk runs into his own teammate. Amazing. Oh, God, Hellebuck. Let's not. Let's not. Johns back for Palmieri. He couldn't handle it. Braden Point. I tried to bump up the game audio. It was a mistake. Eichel can't get it to Palmieri, and that is going to be icing. The good news is, though, we're going to win this last game of the season. Let's have a little bit. Let's have a little bit of that beautiful, beautiful game audio, huh? Just a little bit. No, not too much. Not too much. You don't want to spoil it. Panarin, Point, and Williams. I can see why they're postseason bound. What a save by Hellebuck, and what that is not the way I pointed, but okay. I was pointing to the right defenseman. But, you know, directions, angles, EA Sports, it's in the game. Kreider, Henrik, Sedin, and Backlund as well. Oh, the Sedins. The Sedins. I know people are asking, are you going to put out a video about the Sedins? What's there to say, man? I think I summed it up well on Twitter. Man, I can't catch a break here in terms of stoppages. I think I summed it up best on Twitter, at least for me, where it's sad. Staples of the game for nearly the past 20 years. And it sucks to see them go, especially without a cup. Now, I'm not saying I'd trade the Bruins 2011 win so that the Sedins could win. I'm just saying they, without a doubt, go on to the list, and they're right near the top of best players of all time to not win the cup. I am always sad when a great player doesn't get to win the cup. It's why the Ray Bourque moment means so much to me. It's just, you know, moments like that. You don't like there to be more Marcel Dionnes. That's why I'm rooting for Ovechkin to win a cup, because if Ovi doesn't win the cup, he immediately goes to the top of the list of best players of all time to never win a cup, and that's kind of sad. Trouba, Hannafin, oh boy, what a block. Broke the stick, though, and we can't get it. The guy had he had a broken stick, and they end up with a 2-on-1. Explain that to me. Gaudette, move it quick. Damn it. There you go, Donato. Lower the boom. With 9 seconds left, our season will come to an end, hopefully with an Alex Tuck snipe. Jake Allen with the save. One more face-off for old time's sake. And you know what? Let's roll out the old guys, Boyle, Cullen, and Sean Corrali. Corrali might be back next year. Cullen and Boyle, probably not. Cullen might even retire. And I hope he does after losing that draw. Boyle doesn't shoot. My Masterton winner for this season. And it comes to an end. We do win our final regular season game, but unfortunately, yet again, the March collapse cost us a spot in the postseason. I say yet again because I'm so used to having that occur in NHL 18, but of course this was our first season here with a nation united. So let's take a look. We do need to advance one day just to make sure that everybody has played. If I'm allowed to have control here, that'd be great. Menu lag, if you could stop, that would also be great. As I take a swig of water. Again, I'm going to need to I need to reload with some Arnold Palmer here in a minute. 40, 33, and 9 to end the season. As you get a look at the standings, I'm not really all that concerned. And of course, with it being a fantasy draft, you don't know who's on what team unless you're really paying attention. Montreal, though, finishes with the best record in the NHL. Goals for per game, we had the lowest number. We were the worst scoring team in the NHL this season. However, we gave up or were tied for the second fewest goals against for per game, and just flat out in general had the second fewest goals against in the league. So our offense sucked. Our defense and goaltending was tremendous. We had an 18% power play, which is mid-table, not too bad. And the penalty kill was one of the best in the league. So again, it's the lack of offense that got us. Goaltending and defense, not bad. We finished the season on a 7-1-2 run. It was just the beginning and middle of March that destroyed us. As our leading scorer, to the surprise of no one, is Jack Eichel. Only 56 points, though. That is pretty disappointing. But as has been pointed out, it's pretty smart in theory. The worse your team is, so to speak, the better your goaltender will perform, if the goaltender's a higher overall. This team struggled to score because of the bottom six, yet our goaltender was tremendous. I think it makes sense. It all kind of equals out that Jack Eichel, I'm going to go punch that guy, oh my god. It all makes sense that Jack Eichel and Kyle Palmieri ended up leading the team, but only with 55 and 56 points, respectively. Donato at 48, 24 goals for a rookie, not too bad. Alex Tuch with 47 points, happy with that. Galchenyuk with 46, and then it really kind of dropped off. Although Sean Corrali hitting 24 points is pretty solid. Gaudette, 23 points in 42 games. It was a smart idea to bring him on. Trouba, 24 points. Shane Prince, just kind of that dream, that hope to make the basketball equation, that floater. Just hoping that he would develop this season. I don't really think that's going to happen, but he was one of those kind of late pickups. And again, Hellebuck, amazing. Kincaid was actually very disappointing for an 82 overall goaltender, but Hellebuck did quite well. League-wide, the goaltending king, at least for wins, was Matt Murray. The save percentage belonged to John Gibson. Hellebuck was second in the league, but Gibson just shy of a 940. He's winning the Vezina, no doubt. The shutout leader was also John Gibson. Again, he's winning the Vezina. The lowest goals against average was John Gibson. He's winning the Vezina. Did he also lead goaltenders in points? He didn't. Jonathan Quick had 5 assists. Goddamn, Winnipeg. Good at quickly moving the puck. Now, here's the thing that's going to happen in all my series moving forward. There is, of course, the glitch where if you edit anybody who I believe it's under the age of 26, they reset to being a rookie. So, surprisingly, Matthew Barzal still will more than likely win the Calder by leading in points, but it could have been Tyler Toffoli. So, keep that in mind. It's a stupid glitch this year. I don't understand how new glitches like this just pop up out of nowhere, but they do. So, that is the thing. The NHL point leader was Alex Ovechkin, 94 points. Stamkos did well. No real surprising names, I guess. Toffoli on Montreal. I wonder who... He had Anze Kopitar, so they had the LA connection there. Eberle, Braden Shen. So, not too bad in terms of the top few goal scorers. Or point getters. The goal scoring king, though, Geno Malkin. 52 goals this season. Best plus minus in the league, PK Subban at a plus 35. The worst was a minus 33, Brandon Davidson. The penalty minute king, I'm always intrigued, was Jake Dodson. And it wasn't even close. 204 penalty minutes. Second highest, Milan Lucic with 88. I don't know how to explain that. I genuinely don't. Aside from the fact that he has 60 discipline, but why did he have 100 plus more minutes than the second place guy? It does not make sense. The most minutes in the league, Zach Werenski. Neat. The most face-offs one, for the hell of it, Patrice Bergeron. No surprise. The hit king, David Backes, beat Ryan Kessler by a hit. The block king, Travis Hamonic, 148. The giveaway king, actually fine, the takeaway king was Ryan Kessler. The giveaway king, oh, killer. No. two out of 3 real-life Bruins, that's great. The fight king was Jake Dodson. 34 fights. I think we cracked the case as far as why he had so many more penalty minutes. I wonder, like, were both of Ryan O'Reilly's fights this year against Jake Dodson? Like, is that how it worked out? That's the only way I can envision it working out. And down in the AHL, I just want to look not at fights, although it's McElrath. I want to look at points. As Jimmy Eriksson was there, whole bunch of Finnish guys who just get dumped into the league because the game's weird. But I want to look at Cleveland. 59 points for Brian Gianna, 58 for Gibbons. So the highest scoring rookie was Tufte with 49 goals, Paling at 44, and 41 for Josh Norris. A 927 for John Gillies and a 916 for Ottinger. Not too shabby. Of course, we can and will follow along with the Cleveland Monsters, the 57-win Cleveland Monsters. So let's do that. We'll follow along with them. We'll get to the end of the season or the end of the playoffs. We'll look at the awards. We'll look at the progress reports, and then we will call it quits for this one. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that every episode's going to be a marathon, right? I'm not guaranteeing every episode's going to be an hour plus, but I wanted to swing back with a bit of an impact here. Let's do it. Have the first few episodes be marathons. Let's do it. And it made sense as we beat Iowa 4-0 in the first game, then lose 3-1 in game 2. Game 3 is a 3-2 win. If we win here in game 4, the series is over, and we did. So the Cleveland Monsters beat the Iowa Wild in 4 games, and they are moving on to round 2, where they will take on the Milwaukee Admirals, who had a couple of high-scoring guys, including Hunter Shinkaruk. So we'll sim 3 games before the series can end. We win the first 2 games, so things are looking good so far for the AHL squad. Let's take a look here. We do lose game 3 by the score of 1-0, but we do have the 2-1 series lead. We cannot lose before game 6. So we'll sim the next 2 games. It's another win and another win. So there we go. We beat Iowa in 4 games. We take care of Milwaukee in 5. And the Cleveland Monsters are going to the conference final in year 1, which I'm not overly surprised by, seeing as how many AHL teams' rosters have definitely just been filled out by random signings, because of course so many teams are only at 32 contracts because they don't bother signing free agents. They just go through the season with who they have. Of course, we sim the first 3 games. We win the first 2 against Tucson. So if we were ever going to win a Calder Cup in this series, I'd say it would be this year. So we're looking good. We have a 3-0 series lead against Tucson. Are the Cleveland Monsters Calder Cup final bound? Yes, they are. They sweep Tucson, and we're taking on the Toronto Marlies in the final. Your Cleveland Monsters in the final in Season 1. I am happy with that. And honestly, it has to be goaltending, because point total-wise, it's nothing too crazy. Brian Gibbons leading the way. Norris is a 71. Paling's a 74. Riley Tufte is going to be NHL bound next season. Make no mistake. Chad Chris and Belpedio could also be bound. Fourth line bound. NHL bound, I should say. John Gillies. Yeah. 13 appearances, 11 wins, 3 shutouts, a 1.10 GAA, and a 950 save percentage through 3 rounds. My God. Let's hope this isn't J.S. Jaguar-like, where he just kind of falls apart in the final. But John Gillies has been a beast, and I want to see what we're up against here with the Toronto Marlies. So Nikolai Kuhlman, Connor Brickley, and Austin Watson, Gregory Hoffman, Matt Stajan, and Matthias Tedenby, Curtis McKenzie, Sean Matthias, and David Ahlstrom, Ross Johnston, Brendan Gounce, and Sebastian Wanstrom. Pretty good to have their lowest overall guy be a 73. On defense, though, we definitely have the advantage. It's Vinny Pedri and Johan Alm, Caleb Jones and Philippe Myers, Eric Bronstrom, and Mark Katic. The goaltender is Thomas Greiss. Oh, that's cheap to have Thomas Greiss in the AHL, but he does have a lower save percentage than one John Gillies. It's 930 though, so it's not like we're facing this, amazingly easy task, even though we have been dominant as of late. So let's do this. The Calder Cup. Can you imagine if in Season 1 we make it to the Calder Cup final and get swept? That's totally what I was going to say, and I wasn't going to reference at all the fact that we might win the Calder Cup in year 1. Definitely not. I would have never, ever mentioned that because I totally would have jinxed the team as 3-2 lead. I'm just going to sim it. Can we stay alive? No, we cannot. And the Toronto Marlies sweep the Cleveland Monsters to win the Calder Cup. We were 11-2. They were 11-4. And we ran into a brick wall known as the Marlies as the Calder Cup final ends on May 18th. That is unreal. Well, that was a tremendously disappointing end to the season, now wasn't it? To just steamroll our way to the Calder Cup final and then to just get shit-canned by the Marlies. That hurts, as the Colorado Avalanche have won the Stanley Cup in year 1. We will take a look at the everything, the awards, the team, the bracket. It'll be fine. And then we'll take a look at the draft lottery, and that will do it. So starting off here with their journey, of course you can pause to take a look at the full thing, but the important thing to note is that Colorado beat Tampa Bay in 7 games in the Cup final. I'll take a look at both Colorado and Tampa to see what it looks like, to see what a team looks like that can get you that far. Forsberg, O'Reilly, JVR, Marleau, Coyle, Stastny, Como, Virtanen kind of drops off. Troy Terry is a Stanley Cup champion. I'm kind of happy. Ooh, boy. Yep, there's a mistake right there. If you want my first mistake outside of the draft, there it is. We could have had Troy Terry, who was a low top 6, and by the end of year 1, Troy Terry has developed into a medium top 6 forward, 77 overall at 20 years old. If you want my first mistake, there it is. As you get a look at the rest of the team, Devin Dubnyk, the goaltender. That, my friends, is heartbreaking, as Ben Bishop, back on Tampa, almost led them to the final. They did end up getting Nikita Trampkin. And then forward-wise, you got to look there, Shen, Tarasenko, the St. Louis connection doing work. But unfortunately for them, they fell just short. I cannot believe what just happened with Troy Terry. Devastating. Absolutely devastating. Now, Alex Ovechkin won the Art Ross. The Hart goes to John Gibson. We'll be seeing his face a lot more. The Norris goes to PK Subban. Lady Beng to Nathan McKinnon. Matthew Barzal does win the Calder in an upset. Conn Smythe to Dubnyk. The Vezina to Gibson. The Masterton to Gibson. The Jennings to Gibson. I can't speak. Jennings to Gibson. Masterton to Goodbranson. Selke to Bergeron. Ted Lindsay to Gibson. And the Rocket Richard to Geno Malkin. Down in the AHL, I think that was Jimmy Eriksson who put up the most points for Milwaukee. He was also league MVP. I think it's Brandon Talixon, maybe? Put up the most goals. Hunter Shinkaruk was the Rookie of the Year. Liljegren, the Defenseman of the Year. And John Gillies, your Goaltender of the Year. Unfortunately, he fell apart, as did the entire team. He fell apart in the Calder Cup final. So that is, again, a disappointing way to end it. But as we end this episode, hopefully we can get a bit of good news. And maybe Lady Luck is on our side when it comes to the lottery. And not really. We have the number 12 overall pick. So the 12th overall pick will be made by your Columbus Blue Jackets. Probably. There may just be an opportunity to move up in said draft, which, we might just take advantage of, as basically no one retires. Fedor Tutin and Nolan Yonkman. We'll see you guys later. The trade block, let me clear that out. We'll look at the progress reports and then we'll call it. I almost forgot about that. The Troy Terry news just broke my heart and distracted me. I'm sorry. It did. I am disheveled, as they would say. Who are they? I don't know. But people always reference they and what they say, so I don't know. But they say disheveled, apparently. So, yeah. Progress reports, though. So here's my thing now. If Troy Terry is able to progress to a medium top 6 rather than a low top 6, will we see the same for some of our other players? Now, Hellebuck did not improve, but he is still an 86, so I'm cool with that. I was hoping he'd develop, though. He did play like a 90 overall by the end of the season. Jack Eichel is up to an 87. Trouba is up to an 88, currently down to an 87 due to morale. Hanifin went up 5 points to an 85. Galchenyuk went up a point to an 83. Donato goes up 5 to an 83. Nothing for Palmieri or Kincaid. Tuck is up 2 points to an 81. Murphy progresses to an 80, still a little bit lower than what I would have preferred. Logan Brown will be an NHLer next season. Now a 78 overall at 20 years old. He went up by 4 points. Derek Ryan dropped a point. Cullen dropped a point. Shane Prince made it up to a 77 and is playing like a 78, so he might hang around. Jordan Schmaltz up to a 77. It's promising. Boyle regressed. Nothing from Wingles, Pitlick, or Wagner in the system. Belpedio is up to a legit 76, which isn't too shabby. Gillies is up a point to a 75. Yamamoto is up a point. Tufty is up 3 to a 75. Chris, Paling, Jones, Borgen are all up to 74s. Not too shabby. Kiefer Bellows up 4 points to a 72, as is Adam Fox. Norris is a 71. Mishmash goes up 3 to a 71, as does Jeremy Bracco. Novak is up a point to a 71, as is Jack Glover. And Ottinger, only 1 point improvement, 66 overall. The lowest overall within the franchise. A little bit surprising. Now, as far as any potentials changing, to be honest, I didn't see it. So I'm going to hop right back in. I was taking a look more at the numbers. Let's see if anybody that I notice, at least, maybe you guys will notice as well, if they changed in terms of potential. And it's more going to be a factor in the AHL, I would say. So yeah, nothing there. Belpedio still low top 4. Let's see here. None of those guys really make a difference. Kyler hasn't changed. Was Tufty low top 6? I feel like Riley Tufty improved. He might have been medium top 6, though. Paling, Jones, Borgen still the same. Bellows as well might have improved. I don't know if Kiefer was medium top 6. I believe Norris was. I think Mishmash was. So I don't know if we had any of those direct improvements like Troy Terry did, but like I said, not pulling the trigger on a Troy Terry trade is going to haunt my dreams. Guys, that'll do it for this one. I hope you did enjoy as a Nation United Rock, Flag, and Eagle continues on. Season 1 is in the books. However, we still have a lot of work ahead of us with the upcoming draft. As far as who is available, well, we'll find out aside from the draft class that I'm about to show you. And the question is for creative players. Are they American? Are they Canadian? You might not know because the flags don't often show up. But needless to say, we'll have a target or two. Cough, cough, wink, wink, hint, hint. I love you all. Thank you for your support. I can't speak. Outros are hard. English is difficult. You know what to do, though. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Click the notification bell because YouTube sucks and will not tell you when I put out videos, apparently. So shout out to YouTube for that. Follow me on Twitch. The link is in the description. Follow me on Twitter. The link is in the description. Follow me on Twitter especially because then you get alerts as to when I'm doing anything and everything. Right? YouTube-wise, Twitch-wise, it's the perfect place to be. There's also a Discord. Do I know the link for the Discord? No. Will I remember to finally put it in the description? Probably not. But there's a Discord out there. Yeah. I know. Someone leave a link to the Discord in the comments. That way it's up there. Have a great day, night, life. Yeah.